Stay tuned for Super Trax, America's ultimate mudded monster truck challenge.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kris Chapman at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, where inside we'll see monster trucks and car-smashing side-by-side action.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tampa Stadium and the granddaddy of all super modified mud racing championships. I'm Bret, Kepner, and every year the super modifieds elite gathers here at Tampa Stadium to battle in the biggest single super modified championship in this sport. Without a doubt, the Superbowl of Motorsports year in and year out is the wildest of the wild. And along with the nation's top super modified mud racers, we'll get a chance to take a look at one of the most fearsome stunts ever by world legend Brian Carson. Welcome to Super Trax.
The United States Hot Rod Association presents the ultimate from the wide world of motorsports, Super Trax.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Capitol Center at Landover, Maryland. We are just about ready to begin qualifying for an 8-truck open field on a 125-foot-long straight short course. The first man up is the man who has dominated the U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel Monster Truck Series so far. Rob Fuchs takes on the Chevrolet of Mike Beeler, known as the Wrecker, on the far side of the track. In the near lane, it's the Wrecker of Mike Beeler against the 1989 Rookie of the Year, Rob Fuchs. The working man's hero, an unsponsored independent from Woodstock, Illinois. Both drivers staged and ready. The first blood forward, first truck out will get a chance to set the pace for this qualified field. The elapsed time, 2.65 seconds on a huge leap that almost found Fuchs caught in the last crush car. When the first truck comes out and the cars haven't been flattened yet, things can get wild. Mike Beeler and the Wrecker Chevrolet. And he, too, puts down a reasonable effort, 3.35 seconds. We've seen Beeler so far this year in the 1991 Challenge Series performing extremely well. He should be a driver to reckon with here at this event. The next machine up at the starting line. As Beeler heads for the pits is the local hero from Maryland, Michael Vaughters in the Black Stallion Ford. A beautiful leap and an incredibly hard landing. All kinds of body panel damage, and Vaughters knows it. The crowd goes wild, but he has serious front-end differential damage, and he knows it. He's waving to the officials signifying he's okay. And obviously the flat white front tire won't make him any happier about the situation. Vaughters, with a home-built machine that he created himself 3 seasons ago, has done extremely well. Look at the replay and pay close attention to his white helmet. Unbelievable hit that qualifies number 1 at 2.25 seconds. Kris Chapman has him.
Why do you continue to come out here on these qualifying runs and tear this truck up?
Well, it's, like I said, the truck's all experimental, and we're just trying to work the bugs out. And we got it, we want to work fast because the sport's progressing faster and faster. The trucks are going faster and faster, and we want to try and get a jump on everybody.
Did it make you a little bit nervous when you came down? It looked like you were getting ready to go end over end.
Well, these tires are new, are lightweight and a lightweight wheel, and I wasn't really sure what happened. I just knew to stay in the gas or I'm going to end up on my lid.
Well, let's get back to work. Good luck with it. If you can get it back together, and we'll see you later tonight.
Thanks a lot.
It will be amazing if he can repair that damage and return for the continuation of this event. But now it's time for the Crunch of the Week. You know, it was only 6 days after the crash we featured last week that Rod Lithgow went to Lancaster Speedway in Buffalo, New York to meet Andy Brass and Bigfoot. Lithgow's USA1 Chevrolet won the match in a bouncing final, but something went away at the finish line area, and Lithgow, for the second time in a week, found himself upside down. Luckily, for the second time in a week, Lithgow got out of this uninjured, but still it ranks as one of the wildest 7-day periods ever for any driver. That's this week's Crunch of the Week. When Super Trax returns, we'll continue with Monster Truck Championship battles, Super Modified Mud Racing, and stuntman great Brian Carson. Don't go away. That wild ride has Michael Vaughters, currently the #1 qualifier, thrashing in the pit area just to get ready to continue in eliminations. Meanwhile, here at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, we've got more qualifying to come. How about a 1968 Ford Mustang Monster Machine? It's the Pony Express of Anthony Fortier.
Anthony, why did you take a car and turn it into a truck of sorts?
Well, we started looking around. There were more trucks out there than anything else. We were looking to make something a little different, build something that would catch the eye of more people. And we figured we'd start off from the ground up. When we came time for a body, we looked around, we found the Mustang laying around, and started putting it together. It started looking real nice. So we kept going. A lot of people liked it around the neighborhood. So we just kept building. It came to be what it is right now. The Mustang's a little bit higher in height, and it's a lot shorter in wheelbase. Makes it real hard to handle. The wheelbase is on, it's very short, so you can get out of control very easy.
And one would certainly think that the driver is much farther back on the chassis than he would be in a truck. Fortier leaves the starting line. The Mustang on a bouncing shutdown ride will qualify for this field. The elapsed time, 3.25 seconds. That'll be good for the #3 spot right now. The stiff chassis, you can see, gives him quite a bounce down at the finish line when that thing returns to earth. Fortier will head back to the pit area to get ready for eliminations. Meanwhile, it's the Star Monster of Dan Tesori. And Tesori comes up with a decent run, 3.18 seconds. That will put him in the #3 spot in this field with one of the best-looking showpieces in this competition. As the Star Monster heads back for the pit area, it will be the crowd favorite. The green 1950 Chevrolet of Dennis Anderson, driven by Brother Les, the grave digger. A little sideways at the finish line, but that run looked just as strong as some of the others we've seen. The elapsed time, 3.13 seconds. That will put Les Anderson, #3 in the field. So, qualifying ends with the top 7 machines led by the Black Stallion of Michael Vaughters at 2.25 seconds, just slightly ahead of the First Blood Ford, the all-conquering Rob Fuchs at 265. Can the Black Stallion make it back for elimination? When Super Trax returns, we'll continue with Monster Truck Championship battles, Super Modified Mud Racing, and stuntman great Brian Carson. Don't go away. Welcome, everybody, to Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida, where 50,000 screaming race fans are ready for the first qualifying round for Super Modified Mud Racers. An 80-foot-long mud racing pit with only 80 feet in which to stop past the finish line will confront every one of the attempting qualifiers for a 4-car field. In the far lane, it'll be Gary Osteen's Ford-powered Chevy Corvette called Bad Influence. Osteen on the brakes hard. He touches the 80-foot disqualification banner. He literally gets disqualified by no more than 1 foot. Onésimo watched the run. Now he knows what he has to do. To stop at another 80, and he does it by inches. Look at that, less than a foot away from the disqualification line. Onésimo runs 2.20 seconds in the initial 80 feet, a disqualifying 184 for Gary Osteen. John Kreutz in the magic moments, 1932 Chevy comes sliding to a stop. His lap time, 2.25 seconds. Not a bad run. This time around, though, it's three-time and defending world champion Tom Martin in the far lane against this man, Dick Wilson in the A-team. It was these two drivers back in 1988 at this event that became the first two, with Martin being the initial one, to break the 2-second barrier in this 80-foot sport. Martin shooting for an unprecedented 4th consecutive world championship in the far lane. Wilson, the Florida racer, always tough. Martin, an incredible wheel stand, and he goes out of bounds, disqualified by 5 feet. The world champ can't get it stopped in time. 1.84 seconds for Martin. It would have been good for one of the quickest runs ever through this track, and he is disgusted. In the other lane, Dick Wilson's 2.40 second run will put him in the field. Kevin Kolish in the Hustlin' Hoosier Pontiac Trans Am, of all things, takes on this man, who 1 year ago survived one of the wildest rides we have ever seen. Chad Miller's Instant T. Miller on the brakes, and he goes out of bounds. And he is mad. These guys are really having trouble stopping down here, and Chad Miller throws out an exceptional run of 1.99 seconds. When you're disqualified in mud racing, it's like you were never there in the first place. Kolish runs 2.41 seconds. He'll qualify the Radical Supercharged door slammer in the field, while Paul Schaefer in the Mud Patrol team car of Tom Martin moves up. And because everybody was going out of bounds, Schaefer shuts the engine down before the finish line, trying to get extra room to stop, and that's going to hurt him. Mike Robinson in his Jeep near lane, far lane, Buddy Curley Supercharged 23T, altered, called Snoot. Robinson hard on the brakes. And something in the drivetrain goes away for the Keith Black Chrysler Hemi-powered altered of Curley. Robinson actually gets the victory there at 2.74 seconds. The helmet comes off, and Robinson is happy just to be staying within bounds on that run. Melvin Brown out of Ohio with one of 2 machines he's got in competition. The fuel-injected, nitrous oxide-injected, stretch wheelbase Jeep called Blue Max. Brown sideways. Now trying to get on the brakes, and he touches the DQ line, and he can't believe his eyes. At a speed of all of 5 miles per hour, he knocks over the pylon and the yellow banner that marks the 80-foot distance. He loses out on a run of 2:20. But here is the supercharged Ford-powered Thunderbird of Michigan's Mark Watrous. If anybody can run under 2 flat and stay in bounds, it's this 2,000-horsepower monster. Incredible. The body comes on latch, and he just barely touches the marker that will put him out of the field. What an incredible, violent run. Getting thrown all over the place. The body actually came on latch, and he wastes a run of 197. In the near lane, Chuck Knowles, awesome stepchild. Basically a drag racing pro stocker with a pickup truck body and 4-wheel drive. He's up against Byron Tinky on the far side. Tinky takes a rough ride all over the track of the Iowa-based Bad Habit. He runs 2.31 seconds, but Chuck Knoll gets there first with a 2.20 second effort. Exceptional run for Chuck Knoll. Byron Tinky was looking to finish in the top 8 in the World Championship Series again this year. Tony Ferrotti out of Detroit, Michigan, the supercharged 1927 Ford Model T Roadster called Let's Boogie, lines up against the Wild Band from Kentucky, T-Ray in the TNT Supercharged Jeep Funny Car. One last check from the crew, and now Ferroti is ready to make his move. The TNT Jeep CJ in the far lane. Incredible wheel-standing run for T-Ray, and an equally strong pass for Tony Ferroti. Ferroti runs 2.15 seconds, but T-Ray takes the #1 qualifying spot with a pass of 1.99 seconds. Ferroti looks concerned. His 2:15 may not hold for the 4 quickest qualifiers in this field, but T-Ray leads the pack with that 1.99, followed by a 2:15, a 2:19, and 2:20 efforts recorded by Ferroti, Paul Schaefer, and Chuck Knoll. That brings us to this week's Power Drive. It was only a few months ago that the great northwestern portion of the United States had its first super modified mud run under 2 seconds flat. In the far lane, Mike Wilkie's Captain America wheels up, records a 1.97-second run to make history in the northwestern states. The run came during the Camel Shootout and was enough to win a 3rd Seattle championship on the U.S. Open Association Trail. That's this week's Power Drive. In just a few moments, Super Trax continues with more motorsports action. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. We are still in the middle of qualifying for the 4-car Camel Shootout Super Modified Mud Racing Field. And right now it takes a run of 2.20 seconds to qualify. Here's Gary Osteen again. We saw him earlier. This is his Ford-powered Dirty Bird 55 T-Bird. He'll be up against the Stroll for Gold entry of Frank Wise. A great race, and it's Wise getting there first. 2.16 seconds, and that'll put him in the field right now, stopping within about 5 feet of the DQ line. Meanwhile, the classic Thunderbird ran into problems just before the finish line at 2.61 seconds. But right now, Wise will be a part of the field in the #4 spot. We also saw Melvin Brown earlier in the Blue Max Jeep. This is his other entry, the supercharged Red Heat Dragster. You want to talk about rough rides? Melvin Brown thrown all over the cockpit of that machine. Looking back saying, what did I hit? Melvin Brown at 2.28 seconds will not qualify the short wheelbase Chevy-powered machine. Next up, the Magnum Force #2, Jeep CJ of Mike Jones. This machine was originally one of the 3 first entries ever under 2 seconds flat. He gets the signal to move to the line. He puts it in gear, drops the visor, and puts down a great run on the brakes. Hard, he goes out of bounds by a matter of a couple of feet, and Jones is irritated, rightfully so. His 202 would have gotten him in the show. Ron Smith out of Michigan, the Gold Fever supercharged Chevy-powered 48 Fiat, one of the toughest in the business, lines up against Steve Graham. How about a 1977 Ford Mustang II funny car? There's the 2,000 horsepower Chevrolet in Smith's Gold Fever. Shaking the ground as they both move into the staging beams. Thumbs up from the driver. Smith is ready. He must go quicker than 2:16 to make the field. Problems for Graham. Sideways for Smith. But he stops it in time. The Gold Fever driver runs 2.02 seconds and makes the program. Graham never even got to complete the run as drivetrain problems brought him to a stop at the halfway mark. Here's the half-breed of Ronnie Taylor, taking on the always potent, big-bodied blazer of Garland Walls called the Gambler, the nitrous-injected machine in the far lane. The half free, gets the whole shot, but Walls will drive around him at the finish line. Ronnie Taylor at 264 for the bright orange small-bodied Chevrolet. Garland Walls a great 216. It will come within a couple of thousandths of a second from making the quick four. The radically designed USA 1 entry of Richard Larson. This thing has been around for the last couple of seasons and defies about every law of chassis construction in mud racing today. But it always puts down a strong number. Sideways at the finish line, almost out of bounds before the finish line marker pole. And Larson, still covered with mud, will record a time of 2.31 seconds. It won't get him in the program. That will bring up an absolutely state-of-the-art machine, the fuel-injected, nitrous oxide-injected street roaster of Keith Rowland called Psycho. He'll be up against another guy coming away from a horrible crash here 1 year ago, Tony Lannis' new Dream Chaser 32 Chevy Coupe. They leave the line with Rowland taking it through. Lannis right behind him. Lannis gets disqualified, and listen to this, 1.80 seconds. It would have been good for a new track record. Rowland goes 216 and misses making the field by 100th of a second. Now coming up, and he must go quicker than 216 to qualify. One of the men who is chasing Tom Martin for a world championship, Jeff Acker. Acker gets sideways, but hits the brakes hard and stops it in time. About 5 feet from the disqualification marker. He had to go quicker than Frank Wise's 216 to qualify for the field. 189. He makes the program #1 qualifier. And that's why Acker has been such a threat to Tom Martin's continued dominance of the class. Acker qualifies #1. #2 is T-Ray at 199. Third is Ron Smith in the Gold Fever at 202. And on the bump spot, fourth, Tony Ferroti at 215 in the Let's Boogie machine. That will set us up for the Camel Shootout. But we've got Monster Truck Racing and stuntman legend Brian Carson. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Capitol Center at Landover, Maryland, and we are just about ready for the first round of side-by-side competition. Qualifying is completed, and the big story is that Michael Vaughters has repaired the Black Stallion Ford. The #1 qualifier will be back in the first round of eliminations. But first up, it'll be the incredible Ford Mustang called Pony Express of Anthony Fortier. He'll be up against the dominant force in U.S. Hot Rod Association Monster Truck Racing this year, Rob Fuchs in the First Blood Ford. They leave the line, and at the finish line, it's a full truck length advantage for the bright red Ford F-350 from Illinois. On the replay, they leave the starting line evenly, but that's the only place where Fuchs was not in total control. He'll advance to round #2 easily on the strength of that kind of performance. Meanwhile, back on the starting line, the crowd favorite lines up. The North Carolina-based 1950 Chevrolet called Gravedigger that has proven to be one of the most popular machines in the history of the category. He'll be up against Norman Grogan and the Kid Stuff Chevrolet. Neither machine really being flat-footed through this course, but certainly Les Anderson took it handily. They left the starting line together, but as you can see at the finish line, it was more than a full truck length over the bright red Chevrolet in the near lane. Les Anderson cruises back to the pits to prepare for the semifinal round. The crowd, as always, going crazy for the green machine. But now it'll be Mike Beeler in the near lane in the wrecker, taking on the Star Monster of Dan Tesori. Line. I was about to say that the GMC looked like it had the advantage, but an incredible come from behind effort by Beeler made this one incredibly close. Unbelievable. The Star Monster a little sideways in the far lane, gets the win by 6 inches. You could see Beeler in the far lane come around right at the finish line. The flash bulbs reflecting off everything in the interior, and there's the victor. Tesori heads for the pit area with a semifinal round berth. Now, Michael Vaughters gets a bye run in the first round. He will advance to the semifinals, and he's in tough company with First Blood, Gravedigger, and Star Monster ready as well. When we come back, we'll continue with monster truck action plus super modified mud racers and one of the wildest stunts ever attempted by Brian Carson. Don't you dare go away. We're back at the Capitol Center at Landover, Maryland, as we get ready for the semifinal round of this U.S. Association Championship Monster Truck Challenge Series event. But look at the battle we've got. The dominant force in our series this year. Rob Fusion, the First Blood Ford, takes on the #1 qualifier who's come back from that thrash, the Black Stallion Ford of Michael Vaughters. Close race, and nobody will be able to call that one without an instant replay. We'll look at the whole race in slow motion. You see a big hole shot by Vaughters of the Black Stallion, almost a full truck length, but it nosedives, and here comes First Blood. Indeed, it looks like Rob Fuchs may have gotten there first, but believe it or not, we're getting the word from the U.S. Hobbit Association officials that their video replay camera says that it was a dead heat. The U.S. Hobbit Association officials have declared it a dead heat. Both trucks are now back up on the line. Rob Fuchs realigning the First Blood Ford. Michael Vaughters has had a nightmare of an evening so far. Staged and ready for the rerun of a dead heat. Unbelievable! Another finish too close to call. The rerun of a dead heat is another side-by-side dash. You can see a blown right front tire for Vaughters. Possibly more damage as the truck was completely sideways. Rob Fuchs heading back to the pits. We'll look at the replay. Freezing it at the finish line. Again, it's anybody's call. Look at this angle of Michael Vaughters actually driving into the retaining rail. But the official word comes up. First Blood is the winner. Unbelievable. That will bring up the other half of the semifinals. The Star Monster takes on the Gravedigger. The winner will meet the most dominant racer at the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail this year, First Blood. staged and waiting for the green light. The whole shot goes to the Star Monster. Another race that is literally side by side at the finish line. Absolutely incredible racing here at the Capitol Center. The Star Monster wins it on the replay. You can see the machine leaves the starting line perfectly. The margin of victory was the margin of the whole shot off the starting line. Probably the most incredible semifinal round we have ever seen will give us a Ford and Chevy final. The Star Monster Chevy takes on the First Blood Ford. It can't get much wilder than it's already been. Meanwhile, back in Tampa, Florida, the crowd is anxiously awaiting the arrival of a true legend in Hollywood. The one and only Brian Carson, a stuntman who knows no peer when it comes to facing sheer terror in some of the most fearful stunts ever created. Carson's attempt here at Tampa will be to hurl a full-body passenger car into this pyramid of metal. Vans, full-size cars, small cars, all stacked one on top of the other, with the impact point occurring 40 feet off the ground. An early model Chevy Chevelle is Carson's vehicle of choice. But as long as the car has some serious weight behind it, Carson really doesn't care what he's driving, because the one thing that separates Brian Carson's attempts from any other in the world of Daredevil acts is the fact that he relies on absolutely no safety equipment, with the exception of a lap belt. There is no roll cage inside the car. Outside of his Speed Sport fire suit, indeed, Carson will be utilizing a helmet and nothing else for protection. The passenger side of the car has some foam rubber equipped on the dashboard and the doors. Carson will dive for the floor of that car when he hits the launch ramp. But other than that, there really isn't too much else in there. A rope attached to Carson's side to help him pull himself down onto the floor area just before impact is about all he's got. Now, the biggest difficulty facing him here at Tampa is that his approach to the narrow ramp you see in the background is met by a hard left-hand turn coming out of the Tampa Stadium parking lot. Carson has already expressed his displeasure at the fact that he has to make a turn on dirt at 50 miles an hour in order to line up to make this jump successful. He heads out into the parking lot area and turns around, ready to make his first attempt approach. There you see the left-hand turn on dirt. Now he has to nail the throttle again, trying to keep the car straight. And that could indeed present the biggest single problem he will face here, outside, of course, of sheer survival. The last check of the ramp. The crew signals that they are ready. And Carson now heads out of the Tampa Stadium arena area and heads for the parking lot, where he'll turn around, try and build enough speed to successfully make that left-hand turn on dirt, then punch the throttle again as he heads for the ramps in this early model Chevelle. No roll cage, no special harnesses, just Brian Carson, a helmet and a seat belt. The crowd waiting to hear the car enter Tampa Stadium. Here he comes. Cautiously making the left turn, now pushing the throttle. Here he goes. Unbelievable explosion. The car is upside down and on fire with Carson in it. The safety crew's on the scene immediately. You can see fire extinguisher vapor and dust everywhere as they try to put the fire out around the driver. But the fire is actually spreading. All over the impact area, there is fire or smoke from something. The safety crew is literally exhausting their extinguisher supply, trying to keep the flames controlled. There you see Carson, the yellow car in the center of your screen, upside down and burning in the middle of the wreckage. The fires are growing stronger everywhere. Now the Tampa Fire Department is keeping an eye on it. They're ready to back up the track safety crews, who may be outclassed in an extinguisher battle. Meanwhile, the safety crews work to get Carson out of the car. We have not received word yet on his condition. He is out of the car, obviously, and on the ground and appears to be moving. His crew by his side. And Carson is being helped to his feet. He's up. Brian, do you feel like talking at this point? Your big concern is making that left-hand turn on dirt. And you told us that you might not even be able to hit 50 before you made that turn. You have to make up the rest of the 15 miles an hour or so between there and the ramp. You did it. It was a perfect hit, but I've never seen such a fireball.
I'll tell you, it was hot in there, and all week we didn't know if we could get the speed. And Jimmy Harrison and Earl Case, and they worked with us. And this place is made for Giants win football games, not for us car stunts.
It is absolutely incredible that you would even attempt this risk because, quite frankly, you know as well as the rest of us, a lot of people said you're a fool, and this is one you're not going to get out of. It can't be done, yet you insisted on trying it. Why?
Well, there's a lot of people in this business, and they say they're going to do this and that, and all you can do is keep your word and try to live up to it. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, and I think we got a hell of a wreck here. All I can say is God bless you, Tampa Bay. God bless the USA. Thank you.
Brian Carson, simply unbelievable. But the action's far from over. Coming up, we've got the Camel Super Modified Mud Racing Shootout and the Monster Truck Finale. Stay with us. We're back at Tampa Stadium. The 4 quickest qualifiers have already been decided, but now they must battle it out on a one-run single-shot program to determine the winner. And the first man up will be T-Ray, the Kentucky veteran of the TMTG. And problems for T-Ray, no power to the front-wheel drive unit. And with just two-wheel drive, you won't get anywhere in this pit. Tony Ferrotti's Let's Boogie Roaster qualified 4th. And Ferrotti runs into problems on the run. Unbelievable. He still records an lap time of 2:45, but now it's Jeff Acker's turn in the Insanity Roaster from Milwaukee. And Acker's got a good one. He stops it in time at 2.02 seconds, and that will leave this man, Ron Smith, in the Gold Fever to try and better that mark for the championship. The supercharged Chevy from Michigan with a 1948 Fiat body readies itself. A great run. He bounces off the berm super hard. He had to go quicker than 2:02. He runs 1.91 seconds. He wins the event. The very last pass is turned into the victorious run for Ron Smith. Jeff Acker's Insanity finishes 2nd, Tony Ferrotti 3rd, and T-Ray 4th in the Camel Shootout. We've had some of the most incredibly rough racing and close racing imaginable. The final round is on the line. Ford and Chevy, First Blood and Star Monster. And the final round ends up being a blowout. Rob Bush and the First Blood Ford, with a tremendous advantage at the finish line, wins yet again in the 1991 U.S. Auto Association Camel World Championship Series. On the replay, The whole shot may have been pretty much dead even, but the finish line was anything but. The big red F-350 from Illinois takes another victory. '91 has certainly turned out to be this young man's year. But the action's far from over. Stay with it. This week, Rob Bush in the first one forward with a tremendous advantage at the finish line, wins yet again after an incredible 1989 season in which he was voted U.S. Harvard Association Rookie of the Year. He came back in 1990 to finish in the top 5, and you have to wonder if this young man doesn't have his sights set squarely on the 1991 World Championship.
Driver of first blood who is taking win after win in the 1991 season. What are you doing to make it run so great?
All the credit's not mine. A lot of it goes to people that help, Mike, Tim, Motion Dynamics doing the motor. That's the biggest reason that it's running that good. And, you know, accurate transmissions, they've got a train that's holding up really well this season. This last one was kind of iffy. I lost the contact in one of the runs with Black Stallion, the first run, and I had to run him again. And since that run, it's really hard to focus with one eye.
Focusing you needed to do. Star Monster was really running good. Did you think that you might have to put a little extra something into it to beat him?
No, I wasn't too worried about him. I was more worried about getting my Black Stallion. He was running really well this weekend.
Well, good luck in future runs, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Rob Hughes in the winner's circle again.
Thank you, Chris. And here's another look at the winner here in Tampa with this incredible supercharged Fiat Coupe. Ron Smith on the Gold Fever's run to victory. Man, a rough landing, but at 1.91 seconds, it was worth it as he wins his first National Event Championship of the year, and now may forsake a rough season start for a bid at a World Championship. 2 weeks ago, before the Tallahassee event, you were literally almost out of bucks.
I was out of bucks. I was sending home every other day for money to stay out here.
It's incredible. You know, every time that things seem to be going good for you, things go wrong. And then when the pressure's really on and you're broke and you don't even know if you can make it to the next event, things go great.
I don't know if that's good luck or bad luck. I'm staying out here, but we're having fun tonight.
Tremendous job, guy. Great run.
Thank you. I love it.
Ron Smith, ladies and gentlemen, your winner, a long way from home, but a winner nonetheless. Every racer goes through lean times, and when your luck is down, it seems like it may never change. But here's a guy whose luck made a complete 180-degree turn here in Tampa. With this incredible run, possibly turning his whole year back to reality. Ron Smith out of Michigan, the winner in the super modified mud racing ranks in the Gold Fever Fiat. Well, there's no question that the disqualification banner had a lot to do with the outcome of this super modified mud race, but still Ron Smith and the Gold Fever Fiat from Michigan managed to overcome even those odds. A tremendous victory. Here in Tampa, Florida, the Superbowl of Motorsports, I'm Bret Kepner. Thanks for being with us.
I'm Kris Chapman. Good night and good trucking.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time on Super Trax.